Good day, everybody. I'm Alvin Sanga, and I'm a math professor. But today I'd like to talk to you about something far more universal than equations and theorems. Something that slowly, quietly, almost invisibly has been shaping our lives, our careers, and maybe even our society. Today I'd like to talk to you about the exponential growth of small habits. To help illustrate this point, I'd like to tell you about an art teacher. An art teacher who started off the semester by separating her class into two separate groups. To the first group, she gave a peculiar set of instructions. She said, your grades will be based solely on the quantity of your work. I want you to produce 100 pieces of art before the end of the semester. If you produce 100 pieces of work, you'll earn an A. 100 pieces? 3 months to make? Sounds doable. But to the second group, she said, your grade now will be based solely on the quality of your work. I want you to produce one perfect masterpiece. Just one. Which group do you think performed better? I know for me, I'd want to be in the group that only has to make one. One for an entire semester? That'd be awesome. I'd be done the next day. But you'd be wrong. It was actually the group that made 100 pieces. You might be wondering why. The group that only had to make one, they had to theorize, they had to agonize. They were stuck thinking about what was perfect, how they could create one perfect masterpiece. So they were stifled. They had difficulty creating one thing. But to the group that had 100 different pieces that they had to make in front of them, they came in day after day. They made, they toiled, they struggled, and they failed forward. This is what they created. They were making 100 pieces, one after the other, making better changes, and making a masterpiece one after the other. Okay, so from art, we can now lead into math. I teach math. This is my favorite part of it. For some of us, this might be a review. You think about an exponential equation, okay? 1 to the 365. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to show it. Okay, so if you are your one self today, for the next year, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, you'll still be the same person that you are today, 365 days from now. But to get better, let's just say 1% better. 1% is noted as 0.01. So 1% better, if you did 1.01 raised to the 365, you would be 37.78. You'd be about 38 times better than you are today. Wow, that sounds awesome. I'm going to have to get 1% better every day to be 38 times better than I am now. Okay, this is the positive note. Okay, so just to be on the safe side, let's show the opposite side of the spectrum. Let's say that we got 1% less every day. Okay, so we're going to subtract that 1%. And now we'll be at 0.99 to the 365. And this is the detrimental part. This is the dangerous portion because it will be 0.025, about 0.03. So you'd be close to zero. Very dangerous. So there's a slippery slope with achieving 1% growth, 1% decline. In my lifetime, I have a couple of stories to share with you about how we think about this 1%. And there have been several occasions where I've been able to practice this notion of 1% growth. So when I first moved to Hawaii for my undergraduate degree, I moved there early in the summer. I moved in with my uncle, who was a very busy person. He lent me a car and a surfboard. And I was like, what do I do with this? I've never surfed a day in my life. I might know how to swim. But he said, hey, get out there. You don't got any money, so go do something for free and for fun. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. So he gave me a little bit of motivation. He gave me a little kick to kind of get things going. So this motivation comes in two different styles. Okay, the first one is an extrinsic motivation. It comes from the outside. It is a push that gets us going. It might be a promotion. It might be a grade. It gets us kind of started. It gets us at least in the motion of doing something. And of course, the second one is intrinsic motivation. It comes from within. Okay, usually for motivations, we want to start from the extrinsic side, and hopefully it leads into an intrinsic motivation. So for this surfing aspect story, I got out of the water. I didn't know what I was doing. I paddled out there, swallowed some salt water for sure, and this went on for a couple of days. The next week or so, I was still going out there in the water, still enjoying it just a little bit, at least sitting out in the water. But lo and behold, somebody was nice in the community, in the ocean. I was paddling for a wave, and all I heard was paddle, paddle, paddle. And I felt a push behind my board, and he said, stand up, stand up. And all of a sudden, I was riding a wave. I felt the ocean underneath my board, and I was excited. A fire burst from within me, and I was excited to surf. An intrinsic motivation was born. This new recreational sport was something that I practiced for the rest of the summer every day. And even into school, I surfed 3 or 4 times a week. To this day, I still surf. Okay, this is all good and great for recreation, for something for fun, for a hobby. But now, how do we apply this to something that is for our skill, for something for our careers? So now I'm going to talk about another educational path. The next educational path was what kind of got me to teaching. For teaching, we think about a skill. And I, again, teach math. You can give me a problem to solve every day and I'd be happy to do it. But writing was never one of them. So with writing, I attended a program in California and I submitted my application. With that application, there was a writing piece that we had to submit. So I submitted my master's thesis. I was embarrassed. I was like, I don't want to submit that piece of paper. I was not proud of what I wrote. But a semester, not even a semester passed, but I met my academic advisor. And so Dr. McCarthy here assisted me along the way, and she said one thing when I first met her. Are you happy with this paper? Are you proud of your master's thesis? I told her no. I was embarrassed to submit it. I thought I wasn't even going to get into the program. So she said, let's work on the skill of writing. So what she told me was simple enough, similar to those art students. Write 1 page a day or edit 1 page a day for the rest of your doctoral program. And I turned around and I said, sure, I'll buy in. Let's see how this works with this rest of this program. And lo and behold, a few years later, I wrote this paper, doctoral program was complete, and I was proud of the work that I had accomplished. I wrote 1 page at a time or edited a page a day. Progress was made. So now we've looked at the spectrum from recreation to a skill that we look for our careers and our jobs. But for us in the crowd here, what does 1% look like? How do we think about the 1%? And let's look at 4 different facets of our life that we might be looking at. I kind of have images up here of fitness, your finance, your family, and yourself. So these are things that you can think about where 1% might lie. Okay, for your fitness, let's say you want to go for a walk. Let's say let's just add an extra 10 minutes to our walk. For our finances, some of us might be thinking, how do I save extra money? It could be as little as $1 a day. Next thing you know, you have $7 a week, and at the end of the year, you have $365 extra dollars. And we're thinking about our future self, our education, how to advance our skills. We can look at reading an extra 10 pages a day, or maybe watching a couple extra videos or listening to podcasts. And lastly, my favorite one is our interpersonal relationships. Let's say with our families or our friends. Let's say you want to give a phone call to somebody you haven't talked to in a very long time. Or if you spend time with your kids or your family, to put your phones away to spend those precious moments together. So 1%. How are we going to stick to this 1%? We're all busy with our lives. We're all busy with our careers. We're all busy with our families and their activities. So first, let's figure out what 1% is. Let's identify it. Let's list it out. What areas of my life do I want to improve? We're only going to pick one. From there, make it ridiculously small. So small that you cannot say no. Like again, I said, we are very, very busy people. If we can make it ridiculously small to where I cannot say no to it every day for the next year, then it's something that I can add to my habits already. And for the last piece is to prioritize consistency over intensity. Remember, we're going to try to complete this every day. So be consistent. Be consistent. Do the 1% every day and don't worry about the intensity. We're building the skill. We're building this habit. We're looking at the 1%. Remember, there's the opposite end of the spectrum as well. The anti-habit, not being able to stay consistent and actually to do less. Remember, that will make things worse. In closing, when we look and we try to figure out our 1%, 365 days from now, will we be happy with the person that we see in the mirror? Will we be close to zero? Or will we be 38 times better? Okay, the math doesn't lie. We've seen the equations. And I've proven my theory that exponential growth will work if you stick to 1%. Thank you.